In today's KSAT Q&A, we are joined by San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg, as we are so often on Tuesdays. And we have, Mayor, a big topic that we want to talk about, something that got a lot of people's attention over the weekend. What was just a violent weekend, a series of shootings in San Antonio. One of them, most notably at North Star Mall, Sunday afternoon, a man shot and killed inside a barber shop there at the mall. But that's not the only one that happened. So I want to get your thoughts on this, what seems to be an increase in violent crime in San Antonio. Are you having any conversations about what's going on here?
We sure are. And in fact, obviously, and I think the chief has made some comments about this already, investigating the link between a couple of those shootings which appear to be targeted. In fact, all of the shootings that occurred appeared to be not random. And so that is underway right now. I will say, I just returned from a conference of mayors, and this is the topic of discussion in cities all across the country. One of the challenges here in Texas that's unique is the fact that we're also seeing a proliferation of guns. And so, in light of that, it is still boggles my mind that the legislature continues to make it easier for young people and people who are unstable, dangerous to access weapons and get weapons on our street. That appears to be obviously going in the wrong direction. But we're working on both sides of this issue in the city of San Antonio. We just got briefed on our hotspot initiative that has shown a marked decrease in where those interventions are taking place. Hotspot, making sure that the police resources are stepped up in the areas where we see crime, and so it's showing a decrease in crime, violent crime overall, but in particular those hotspot areas. We're also going to be working towards the increase in our police officers on the street, another 100 officers, patrol officers in this coming budget. And of course, we're working with the Texas Anti-Gang Initiative as well, where we have agencies at the local, state, and federal level working to really get to the root of some of the gang activities that we've seen over the last several years, and really start apprehending leaders of these gangs and putting an end to this across agencies, working to share information, intelligence, et cetera, to get a grip on this. But, this is a challenge being faced all across the country. What's unique here in Texas and some other states as well is the legislature making it easier for these weapons to be all over our streets and getting in the wrong hands.
I want to talk a little bit about, have you had conversations with the police chief and the district attorney? Because a lot of these, yes, they're targeted. I'm glad you added that context. But there are innocent people that are getting caught in the crossfire in some of these cases. I mean, we're very lucky with a mall on a Sunday that, more than one person wasn't shot in that whole thing. I mean, are you having these conversations to try to figure out from a multi-pronged attack here on what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's dealing with the immediate issue of the crime, but it's also getting upstream from that. And so we are having those conversations. We're also making sure that we are sharing information with other law enforcement agencies and they with us to make sure that we're in the best position possible to prevent these crimes from happening in the first place, and to really break the chain of retaliation that we often see in these targeted shootings. And then in the course of, again, what I've mentioned, the proliferation of weapons and weapons being stolen out of cars, et cetera, working with our law enforcement agencies to provide tools for people to first, hopefully not store weapons in their cars, but in the event that there are weapons in a home or in a car, even making sure they're secured and cannot be stolen. So again, we're working on all sides of the issue to really get a hold of this issue and bring a decrease in our crime rates. And I will say again, credit to our law enforcement agencies, the initial efforts on the hotspot initiative where we're shifting resources based on data where those crimes occur. We're seeing a marked decrease in violent crime in those areas where that intervention is occurring, and a decrease in violent crime overall.
You know, I know that the police chief, when talking about these shootings being targeted yesterday, he did mention frustrations with some people being let out on bond and this being a recurring issue, pointing a lot towards the judicial side of things. But the police department itself, you mentioned this hotspot initiative. Do you think the department is doing what needs to be done to try to tackle this problem? I imagine that hotspot is part of that. Can you explain a little bit more what PD is doing to try to decrease violent crime?
So there's a number of different things, and it's not just the police department, but as far as police department and law enforcement resources are concerned, we want to focus those resources where they are needed the most. And frankly, where we see increases in crime, we shift those resources. That's the genesis of this hotspot initiative, which is a three-phased effort that we're doing in conjunction with UTSA, providing some data analysis on where to shift those resources. We got our briefing on the initial results of that initiative last week at the City Council. So we've seen, again, marked decrease in violent crime in those areas where those interventions are occurring, and a decrease in crime overall in the city during that period of time, but in particular in those areas where we're shifting resources. I will say also, with respect to law enforcement resources writ large, one of the things that we're doing is studying the personnel and staffing contingents across these different departments. And we are going to be really increasing patrol resources in our police department starting this year, with another 100 officers being hired into the department. And then over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, another couple hundred or more. And I just was also corresponding with some of our congressional representatives, Congressman Gonzalez, advocating on our behalf for some Department of Justice grants so that we can continue to provide the resources necessary to keep crime under control and to return the trend on what has been a national rise in violent crime across the country.
Mayor, we've run out of time. Obviously, a lot of topics to get to you, to talk about with you, but violent crime is certainly one that affects everybody, and everyone has an interest in finding out what the city's doing about that. So thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us, and we'll be seeing you next week, hopefully.
Thanks so much, y'all. Have a good night.
Thanks, Mayor. We'll be right back.
Hundreds of Canadian wildfires are burning, and the list of U.S. cities feeling the effects from that is growing.
Yeah, there's some of the smoke you see there. A number of major cities blanketed in heavy smoke today, sparking serious air quality concerns across the Northeast and Midwest. Millions of people under varying air quality alerts. Several cities designated as having unhealthy air for sensitive groups. Canadian officials say they are currently tracking more than 400 active fires and at least 26,000 people forced to evacuate in Canada.
I want to go home, and I'm sure that everybody else here does too.
Back in the U.S., forecasters are watching a cold front that could push that smoke further south and east before week's end.
Look outside with live cam here at home. Of course, we saw some of those heavy downpours earlier today. More of that to talk about. Adam, you were saying that some of that smoke, I'm sure you can actually track that and see it.
Yeah, we can. And I'm going to really dive into that in just a moment, coming up after the break. So momentarily, but you can really see the smoke from wildfires all across Canada that are steered by the upper level winds. It's pretty interesting. We'll get to that in a moment. First, I want to cover this evening the showers that we've had. They've pretty much all come to an end. 80 degrees right now. By 9 o'clock will be 76, midnight 71, and tomorrow morning will be in the upper 60s. More on that smoke, rain opportunities until the upper level high sets in. We'll talk about some changes in a bit.
Ford is recalling thousands.
Actually, President Biden convened his cabinet today for the first time since January, and economic issues were at the top of their agenda. With an eye toward Biden's 2024 re-election bid, the economy among the top domestic issues. The White House used the meeting to highlight implementation of the president's infrastructure plan signed into law last summer, an unemployment rate under 4%, and the bipartisan debt ceiling deal that Biden signed over the weekend that they say will ensure the U.S. would avoid default.
We prevented the default, and our historic recovery continues.
The bill the president signed will suspend the debt limit until January of 2025 after the next presidential election. It also cuts discretionary spending for the 2024 fiscal year and limits spending to 1% growth in 2025.
All right, now let's get to that Ford recall of thousands of hybrids for a second time now. It comes after its first recall failed to address a fire hazard. This round includes 125,000 of the most recent years of Escapes, Mavericks, and Corsairs. Their gas engines can leak oil or vapors, and those can catch fire when they come into contact with hot parts of the compartment. Now, these vehicles are hybrids or hybrid plug-ins, so people could keep driving with a failed engine. You can check if your VIN number is included in the recall on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's website. Let's turn to the forecast now. And Adam, you said you were going to talk about some of that smoke that we can actually see out there in addition to what's been going on here locally.
We're used to seeing some of this smoke in our area from Mexico. This is up north.
Yeah, this is a totally different situation, and I'm going to touch on it because we are accustomed to getting some smoke, but for us, it's from agricultural fires annually every spring in Central America and even Mexico. And then, of course, we have the dust that comes from the Saharan desert in Africa that we see in the summertime, but it's a different situation elsewhere. First, I want to show you authority radar. There's nothing out there really anymore. One or two little showers left over that are falling apart in northern Uvalde County. That's all we have. It was quite a light show though earlier. This is from Oscar up in Stone Oak, and check out that lightning strike there. Not only that, it's a good pup with the downpour in the background. Good look at the downpour and rain accumulations on the south side of town, 1.5 inches near McCollum High School. And there's another 1.6 measured on the south side. Like to see that. Let's talk about our overall weather pattern. We had a few of those hit or miss showers today. Other parts of Texas did as well, highly isolated. I do think we have a few more opportunities the next several afternoons. Upper level disturbance over California, that's not really making it a beeline for us. Actually, this bump in the upper level flow will start to tamp down the afternoon storm chances a little bit, just less coverage over the next few days. It's actually an extension of the infamous Big Blue H. We're all too familiar with that Big Blue H. It's over the Pacific right now, just west of Mexico, but that's going to be creeping in by the end of the weekend and early next week. And that's going to really put an end to some of those shower and thunderstorm chances. Okay, here's a look at the smoke in the air. The green is light to moderate density of smoke in the air. The white is the really thick smoke. And what's interesting is because of this ridge, this bump in the upper level flow over central Canada, right basically over Manitoba here, smoke from western Canadian wildfires is actually being picked up and then driven southward down into the Great Lakes area and even into the mid-Atlantic, the east coast of the U.S. And then you've got eastern Canadian wildfires that are causing the smoke over parts of New England as well. So it's a combination of several factors, but none of that smoke is going to be making it here. It's going to be swirling its way particularly through New England over the coming days and a little bit get thrown towards some of the central Gulf Coast states. So we don't have that hazy sunset right now. 66, our low temperature this morning, that's below average. Our high of 87, below average. The average high is 92. And we just put the numbers together. By this time last year, we had 37 90-degree days or warmer. 37 days that were 90-degree days or warmer. And the warmest was 105. So far this year, 8. Just 8 90-degree days. That's all we've had. And the hottest so far is 94. However, I do think we could get warmer than that in the days ahead as the upper level high starts to settle back in. Right now out west, near 90, Carrizo Springs 90, Del Rio 93, but Kerrville 77, Fredericksburg 78. You see where we have some rain-cooled air. 79, Kelly Field Airport SA, 80 in Converse, and 77 in Bulverde. Tomorrow morning, we start the day at 68 degrees, a mixture of sun and clouds, and we'll have some isolated pop-up showers again tomorrow afternoon, but they're going to be isolated in nature, and the same goes for the next couple of days. But high temperatures tomorrow, 90 here in town, 95 Del Rio, 94 Eagle Pass. Those will be the warmer locations. Meanwhile, Helotes 86, New Braunfels 89, and Timberwood Park, you'll top out at 87. 30% chance again Thursday. Then we trim it back to 20% chance Friday and Saturday. until that upper high noses itself a little too far in, and it's just sunshine and warmer temperatures. 96 early next week.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
The Buzz coming up next. The double-decker airplane seat making a comeback in the Buzz. The 23-year-old airplane seat designer Alejandro Nunez Vicente is showcasing his design this week at the Aircraft Interiors Expo in Hamburg, Germany.
No.
I don't know about this. He believes the double-level seating is the future of economy flying. Nunez Vicente's concept went viral recently, igniting furious debate about both sides about double-decker seating. A flurry of reactions came in, some outraged, some intrigued. And from that view, I mean, if you're worried about somebody kicking your seat, there are other concerns with that configuration.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed that out.
I'm just saying, there could be other concerns.
There is a lot of giggling happening in the Weather Center.
I don't want the lower deck of the double-decker.
Okay, Disney announcing a Halloween favorite, Hocus Pocus, will be getting a third installment. Sean Bailey, the president of Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Production, told the New York Times Hocus Pocus 3 is happening. Further details about the movie, including a release date and the cast, those have not been released yet.
Okay, back to the double-decker seating. Let's call them exhaust concerns.
Anything else?
Yeah, we'll be right back.
All right, back to those wildfires. Let's take a look at the satellite imagery, and I'm going to zoom in to New England and parts of eastern Canada, and you really see the thick plumes of smoke coming out of some of the ongoing fires and fires all across parts of eastern Canada here. In those darker areas in the center part of your screen, that's really the thickest, freshest, and newest smoke. Here it's going to animate. There you go. Now you really see it just coming out of those fires. So unfortunate situation for their air quality up there. Around here, we just have a few pop-up afternoon showers the next few days, and it's going to get warmer, mid-90s.
All right, thanks, Adam. Thanks for watching the news at 6.
See you on the Night Beat at 10.